Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Here's a little video I did on a repair job about 6 months ago. I just found it while going through some files. I thought I'd better share it with you. Hope you enjoy it. Hey guys, Chris from the Ultimate Recycler. I'm in my workshop again. I've got another repair job on the desk. This is probably a 1980s or 90s CD radio. It belonged to a neighbour across the road and he dropped it in for Ewaste because he said it's not working. I don't know what's wrong with it. He was a bit disappointed because he said it was his favourite radio. So normally I probably wouldn't tackle something like this, but because it's a neighbour's job and he did express a bit of a fondness for it, we'll see if we can surprise him. So I'll see if I can get it going. I have no idea what this job's going to involve and it may not even be worth it, but we'll check it out. Okay, a quick appraisal of the situation. It's quite grubby, so it may have just been a shed radio. And I just noticed there's a Phillips head screw there and there, which I'm pretty sure aren't original. And there's a little bit of a hole through there. I suspect that the CD hasn't worked and that's the lid, and perhaps a catcher's broken and all he's done is screwed it down because he didn't use the CD. I would imagine that's going on. I'm going to plug it in first and see if the radio works, because he did mention radio and I think that's all he used. It looks like it is a cassette as well. So we might put a cassette in there and see if it works. But we'll try the radio first. The buttons seem okay. But I think the radio is the main thing. So we'll plug it in and see if we've got any action at all. Okay, let's plug the power cord in. I have checked the cord to make sure that there's no nicks and damage to the cord. And we'll give it some power. And let's see what it's doing. Right, so we have nothing going on at the moment. Radio, cassette, CD. Okay, so we have power, but the lid has definitely been screwed down. So obviously that's not required, but on the radio or the tape, okay, it registers tape, but the radio switch, the band switch, doesn't seem to be turning it. I'm not sure if you can see the screen there, the reflection's probably a bit bad, but it says tape, and I push the CD and it goes to CD, and it's searching for a track, but there's no CD in there, of course. Well, unless he left one in there, but it hasn't found anything. But I press the radio button here, and it's not moving from the CD position, or if it's on tape, when I press the radio, it's not moving from tape. So perhaps there's just a problem with that switch. We'll dismantle it and see what we can find. Now, the next step I'm going to do, I'll unplug it, of course, before we pull it apart. But on these sort of portable units, I'm going to check in the battery compartment, because sometimes people leave old batteries in there and the corrosion just makes it one hell of a mess of everything. Just before we do that, we might try a cassette in there, because at least then we'll know if the amplifier section's working. Now it's quite dusty in the cassette section. I'd say he hasn't used that. And I haven't got my air compressor set up in my shop yet, but I have got a can of Dust Away, which is just basically compressed air. I wouldn't normally buy something like this, but it came out of a shed I cleaned out. I actually think it's a bit of a waste to produce a can and everything else that goes with it just for air. But since I've got it, I might as well use it. Okay, let's put a cassette in. We have Johnny Cash. And I think I got told off in one of my other videos for testing such a quality cassette tape in some old dodgy cassette deck that may chew it up. So fingers crossed it doesn't. Let's try play. Oh, it did start. Let's try a bit of fast forward, a bit of rewind and play. Okay, well it works if I hold the button down. So there's a mechanical issue here. I don't think we need to worry about that, because I'm pretty sure that Bob over the road just wanted the radio. But a good thing is that we know the speakers are okay. Let's turn the volume up a bit. Yeah. So that is working, but there's mechanical problems there. We'll take our tape out. Johnny lives to see another day. So now I'll check the battery compartment, and we'll see if any batteries have been left in there. No, that's good. Oh, there has been at some stage. That looks like battery acid, but oh yeah. Yeah, it doesn't appear to have corroded anything inside, but there's certainly a bit of acid there. I might just mop all that up. In fact, that's still wet. Unless it had been left out in the rain, but I don't think so. Anyway, I'll clean this up a little bit. It's not a cause of our problems because we had power, the amplifier section's working, and I think that radio button is the problem. But I will clean this up and then we'll pull the back off. Okay, we've got to remove the screws. I don't know if there's going to be a screw under the lid here where it's been screwed down, so I might have to take those off as well. Perhaps we could do that and we might be able to fix the broken catch. Wouldn't it be great to give it back to Bob with every function working? We know the cassette works, but it has an issue, which may be a fairly easy fix. The problem is with these things is that they're really no value. You can go and buy a replacement for probably $30 or $40, maybe even less. But it's the wastage. If we can keep it in circulation and not have it thrown to landfill or thrown into the waste streams, then that's kind of good. And the whole thing about my channel is to teach you guys to have a go. Most of the jobs I do aren't economical repairs, like you would never pay a tradie to do it because it far outweighs the cost of buying a new one. But if we can learn to do it ourselves, that's got to be a good thing. Okay, I'm going to take this lid off because there may be a screw underneath. And he's used bigger Phillips heads. And we'll see what's actually broken in here. There we go. I think he might have glued it as well. Well, clearly he didn't use this for a long time. And it's probably the opening mechanism that's broken, or the hinge. Yeah, I think it's the bottom of the hinge that's actually broken, which is why he just screwed it together. But we did need to get in there to undo some screws to get the casing apart. Alright, I think we've got all the screws out. The case should come apart now, somehow. Ah, there's a couple of screws in the front. Geez, they hide screws everywhere on these things. Okay, now we should be right. Not quite. We need to disconnect the antenna. Okay, that's got that out. Now we should be right. There we go, we're free. We've just got some wiring to unhook. That's given us much better access. So we should be able to pull all these ribbon cables out. So we have now disconnected the top section from the bottom section. It is pretty dirty and dusty in there, but doesn't look like any battery acid's got in there to cause any damage. We can probably have a bit of a look at the cassette mechanism, but I want to get that radio button working because that's the primary aim to fix here. So the front section has the control boards, and that's the CD drive under that one, which I think was working. As for the door, that's the slow open mechanism. Okay, I'm not going to worry about this door. I can see that it's these parts were actually alright, but the pivot point at the bottom here is broken off. The one that side's okay, but the housing's broken clean off, and it looks like this thing has got a bit of damage too. I'm not going to worry about that. Let's see if we can fix the radio switch, and we'll screw this back down when we're finished. So the radio switch is here, and it works on a little board in here. So we'll take a few of these boards off. It looks like there's just some straight contacts to operate that. So we'll take the board off. It may be just a little bit of corrosion or a bit of dirt on the contacts. Okay, so the push buttons from the top have long plastic fingers that poke onto these little buttons. So I'll have to check which one was which. I think the middle one was the radio, wasn't it? So the other ones have pads on them, and the middle one appears to be missing the pad. So I'll have to have a look at, but some of these others are missing pads as well, but maybe they weren't working. I'll have a look around and see if I can find the pads for them, because that adds, oh, maybe it doesn't really add much. It appears to be clicking, but you know, that might make all the difference. But you know, 0.5 millimeter might make all the difference as to whether that button, because it didn't move very much. So I'll have to have a look and see if the pads are there. I may be able to stick something onto it for it to work. And I better identify which of these other ones, which functions they are, because they may also not be working. I can easily check if these switches are operating by just getting an ohms meter and just seeing if I have continuity when I press the button across those. So I might just check that first. Just checking these switches now. This end one was the CD, and if I push down on the board I can feel the switch click, and you saw on the meter that it's working. If I lift the board up, it disconnects. The cassette, this end, push down on the board, I heard it click. Oh, I heard the first one click, there we go. So that one's working. And the radio one, if I push down, yep, it's working as well. So the switches are all working. I think it was just a missing felt pad, and what I've done is I've actually, we'll move this meter out of the road, I've actually pinched one of the pads off one of the switches that was for the CD player, because we're not using those controls, and it was very, very sticky and it stuck on fine. I don't know, I couldn't find any of the old pads. I don't know where they'd gone. They may have fallen on the floor when I first pulled it out and I didn't notice, but then again, maybe Coco ate them. So she's sleeping under the bench. It's a very hot day here today, and she likes the cool concrete, even though I've got carpet in the workshop here. Okay, so I reckon that should fix the trouble. We should have the radio again. Let's put it all back together. Okay, I've got all the boards back together. I've plugged all the wiring looms in, and it should just sit down in position. That's pretty good. We'll plug the power in and we'll see if we've got some radio button action. Okay, should be able to see the screen there. We'll plug the cord in the back. I'm not sure if it'll come straight on or if we have to press the power button, or if I've got everything plugged in properly. Okay, the power's on. Power switch, it says CD. Let's go with tape first. Let's build the anticipation. The tape works. Let's see if the radio button works. Beautiful. And there's a hiss. I haven't even got the antenna in yet. So we've fixed it. We better put this in. We'll put all the cabinet screws back together. I'm not going to worry about the CD purely because the thing's not worth much, even in good condition. Clearly Bob didn't use the CD. So we'll jam that back down. Oh, I've got to put some screws under there first. We'll put his self-tappers back through the top. I'm not going to worry about the cassette either, because he didn't mention that, and it was pretty dirty inside, so obviously didn't use it. But the radio should be a good goer. Fantastic. Okay guys, it's another win for the Ultimate Recycler. We've fixed up Bob's radio. It seems to go really well. The reception's not brilliant in this room with the little antenna,
1 p.m.
but it works pretty good. So I'm sure Bob will be happy with that. He won't be expecting it. It's a win-win for everyone. We've kept it out of landfill. Bob will get his favourite radio back, and you guys get a video. So thanks for watching. Just goes to show that most problems aren't difficult to fix. It's usually worth having a go. This took me really just over half an hour. Pretty easy job. With a bit of common sense, you can usually work out what's wrong with these jobs, because very rarely it's something complicated on a circuit board. Usually it's something that moves, like a switch or a connection, particularly if you get like battery acid or a bit of moisture in. So generally they're a pretty easy fix. So I'm pretty happy with this. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.